Well, one of the things that we've seen is that there's now a huge drop in the social contagion of trans has kind of
It's falling off the cliff.
The fever's broken a little bit. There's a lot fewer young people who are identifying as trans, which I think is
or non-binary or whatever they want to.
There's
pronouns are out of
there's a
fashion.
sense that we're headed back to some normalcy, which is and your point about the Democrats just gripping onto this issue as it continues to go down in the sense of fewer people identify. I mean, they're going to be, it's going from a 20% issue to like a 5% issue, right? I mean, there's just so few people who give a shit about this. And it's just because they've lost their minds. And yet the whole party as establishment is totally all in on this. It's just astounding.
No, it's wild. And if you're at the sometimes at the legislature, and I'm like, I question my sanity because it's just
like this can't be real life.
Yeah, and it is. We really need the media to step it up, and we're actually starting. We have in the last few years, and this has been a big reason why we won. We are finally starting to see. There's all these media sources like what you guys are doing right now, where we reach people in so many different ways, and we're getting the facts out there. But yeah, it is almost unbelievable the things they stand for and their push and they try to get done.
Well, especially when you look at all you have to do is look at the last election, and then I was one of those that believed that Biden was not going to be on the ballot at the end. We had talked about that the year
everybody
before.
kind of believed that, except for the Democrats.
Come on,
me.
We talked about we were
talking about it earlier because we live in the real world.
I did believe that it was going to be Michelle Obama, but she broke their hearts.
But there was a lot of people who believe that.
I had assumed that it wasn't going to be Biden anyway, and once it wasn't, it was like, well, this is going to be a challenge for anybody.
Right.
But I think that the issue that drove the popular vote into Trump territory and the landslide of the electoral college was, I think it stayed close on the issues of like inflation and those things, but the fact that the Trump campaign exposed Kamala for her radical ideology on trans issues was the game changer.
Yeah.
The fact that they had her on camera talking about taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and for illegal aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the that tagline of Kamala Harris is for they, them, President Trump is for you.
Right.
I think that is what took all of those suburban moms and they went, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the numbers spiked way up for Trump.
Yeah, I think there were kind of three things I think that really stood out to me, additional things from the election that were game changers. You had the youth vote more conservative, like you've never seen before, and that you can give a lot of kudos to Charlie Kirk for making that happen and his movement. You had the Hispanic male.
Yes.
That went with Trump, and that ties into exactly they were not, these are like manly men, right?
Yeah.
And they are not going to buy this balloon. That ties in, exactly with what you're talking about. And then this is kind of a small thing, but I thought this was for me, it was like I felt like this was a game changer. The J.D. Vance debate with Tim Walz.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, it just showed the differences so clearly, and I thought that definitely made a difference.
No question.
Well, whenever you have your lead candidate breaking the fourth wall, with the camera, it's always with the little glances that he would do. You're winning.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, he overperformed as a vice presidential candidate for sure.
Oh, absolutely,
and has been a great.
And he's overperforming as a vice president for sure. I heard a perspective from a leading Democrat this morning, Dan Turrentine, on the Two-Way podcast, that he really believes this issue that we're talking about is equal, if not greater than the border issue as a blind spot for the Democrats throughout this election that's coming up and also the election next year. And that was interesting to hear.
Yeah.
That I mean, Democrats for years and years and years said there's nothing wrong with the border's not open, blah, blah, blah. We heard this for years. And then it ended up eating them.
Yeah.
Completely.
Oh, absolutely.
And right now they're reaping the consequences of that. And he believes the trans issue it will be a deciding factor in the Virginia elections and will be a deciding factor next year.
Do you think it may be now that you say that that might be one of the issues that's impacting the New Jersey governor's race as well?
Yeah.
I mean those two governor's races. Well, and obviously the AG's race and AG in Virginia, where it's got that outrageous texting, but those off-year governor races, those off-year governor races are the canary in the coal mine.
Mm-hmm.
And if one or two of those go Republican,
We're looking good.
yeah, that all of a sudden things start to change in the mindset of what's the art of the possible. I mean, you look at the Senate map for Republicans next cycle, and at first glance it's like, well, there's no place we can gain. Maybe we can just hold, and we don't want to lose anything because Maine's going to be at risk, right?
Yeah.
But we now have Mike Rogers in Michigan, and you've got a very contentious primary on the Democrat side of Michigan. So that's a potential gainer. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have any top-tier candidates that I'm aware of right at the moment against Ossoff in Georgia. But that would be a place where we could certainly have some gains because the Republicans have grown in their registration in Georgia. So it'll be interesting to watch how this stuff develops. But then that goes to the House, and maybe we don't lose the House. Maybe we win the House. Maybe we expand on the House. I mean, the redistricting stuff is, we just picked up a seat in a redistricting new map in North Carolina on top of the 5 potential pickups in Texas, and there's going to be, I think, one in Missouri that's underway. Indiana might do it. Obviously, you've got California. Going to see what happens in November on that ballot initiative. That could wipe out the Texas game. But the point is that in what would typically be a bad Republican election cycle, it may not be as bad.
Right.
So that's good for you. Although I still think that even if we had a terrible election cycle, the fact that Chris Mays is so out of touch with what she's supposed to be doing in her job that you can still win.
Yeah. No, we feel great about it, and just that she's really veered from the mission of the office, number one, and then the registration, number 2. So those are huge tailwinds, and I think we take that into 26, and we win.